You're watching Goddess Kring, Shannon Kringen. Goddess Kring, Shannon Kringen. Hello, this is Shannon Kringen, and you are watching Goddess Kring. And I want to preface this show by saying that I'm sorry, I don't feel like being on camera. People lately have been wanting me to be on camera more. But right now, I recently got my first DSLR camera, which I'm testing out. Canon Rebel, and it's a really fancy schmancy camera. And what you're seeing tonight is a mix of pictures I've taken with my lower end camera and my higher end camera, and contrasting the two. And actually, some of the pictures look very similar between the expensive camera and the cheaper camera. And then, of course, some of the pictures, it blows me away how much better the fancy camera is. But I wanted to preface this by saying that tonight's show is going to be partly cathartic. I don't even know if anybody watches my show anymore, actually. So if you watch my show, let me know, because I get feedback, but not as much as I used to. So feel free to email me. If you hate my show, you like my show, you feel neutral, let me know. Go to my website, shannonkringen.com, look for my email, and just email me and let me know what the deal is on that. And or you can write me at my snail mail, Shannon Kringen, P.O. Box 20355, Seattle, Washington, 98102 is my USA Incorporated P.O. Box. No pun intended. USA Incorporated is what I like to call this country of ours, which is sort of turning into a corporation more than it's a country, in my opinion. But I'm not too thrilled with that. But what I was going to say was, the audio, I basically right now it's September of 2010, and I'm in a good place right now. I'm making progress in my emotional growth, my spiritual, mental, physical, pretty much growing on all levels, getting through some rough spots. The guy that I'm dating right now and I are actually having a really good time. We worked through some of our issues together. We got through some rough spots, and we really love each other, it seems like. We just met a few months ago, but so far it's going really well. But the audio that you're going to hear now is something I recorded like a couple months ago when I was freaking out, and I was crying and really upset, and so I just wanted to share it. So I'm just letting it rip. Here's my cathartic Shannon Kringen pouring her guts out audio. And then the visual you're seeing is some recent photos I've taken at the zoo and at Experience Music Project and around Seattle, plants and animals. And I really love animals, and I'm actually feeling pretty good right now. I'm in a fairly happy, positive place. So don't worry if you're somebody that cares about me. Don't worry, I'm okay. I have I have support people I can call and talk to. I have friends. I have family people I can call if I need support. I have ways of getting support. And part of what I do to support myself emotionally is to vent into the microphone, talk into the camera, talk into the microphone, and take photographs. And I volunteer at the zoo, and I photograph at the zoo for my own projects. And animals have always made me feel better than people. And I'm an animal person. What can I say? Although I love one-on-one. I love the guy that I'm dating right now. I love him, and I've had friends off and on throughout the years. But generally speaking, most of my wonderful experiences have either been with my lover at the time, or my cat, or I don't know, just hanging around with plants and animals, or being by myself, meditating, or when I model for art classes. I really don't talk much to people. I like to, but I enjoy sitting there and being in my own little space. And I don't know if and when I heal my psychological wounds or whatever, I wonder if I will be more comfortable and happy around people, or will I still be kind of quiet and keep to myself a lot? I'm not really sure who's the natural me, who's the full natural me, and how much of that is just woundedness, from my past wounds. I don't know. But I'm finally at the age of 41 getting tired of going over my childhood. There's Tom Petty's in a film called Made in Heaven, and he goes, "I wonder what her childhood was like." and that scene really sticks out to me. And the guy that I'm dating, he knew about that line in that film, and he talked to me about it, and I was like, oh yeah. And so we both kind of clicked on that. And it's an obscure film with Timothy Hutton, and came out in like 1984 or something, or I don't remember when, the 80s, early 80s. And it's an obscure film we both know about, and that Tom Petty's in it. I wonder what her childhood was like. And so I'm finally tired of going over and over my childhood with myself, but it's only because I just needed to know, I needed to have it validated to me that yes, indeed, in some ways my childhood was really rough. Some ways, I'm lucky in some ways, and it was sort of good in some ways, but it really was pretty bad in some ways, and I really didn't get certain needs met, and that's fine. That's the past. That's over. That's done with. The problem is that I keep recreating those patterns, and I still don't know, like, what are my needs? So now my job is to let the past go, of course, and forgive my family for not being perfect, and learn how I can stand up for myself and have good boundaries with people that are healthy for me and respectful to both me and the other person, and ask for what I want and figure out what my real needs are as an adult, because that's the thing, I don't fully know. I haven't learned certain things, and it's kind of scary to be 41 and like not know certain things. Although I want to give myself credit. I'm a strong person. I'm a survivor. I've toughed out a lot of things. I keep trying, despite my lack of skills in some ways. I keep trying to have relationships. I keep falling in love, and I keep having relationships, and and I'm sort of trying to be friends with people. Mostly I just want a lover, boyfriend, lover in my life. And then I have friends that I don't see very often, but, so I need to give myself credit. I've done this show for 15 years. I've been, but then at the same time, I don't want to have to prove anything to you or me or God or whoever. I just want to love myself and be. And I think about quitting doing this show because I've done it every week for 15 years. And I know that, the funding, the budgets are being cut, and the funding is switching around. I don't want to talk about it. That's not for me to talk about, but there's things shifting and changing, and I'm not sure how much longer I still want to do this show anyway, although I still always want to do my art and share it with people. But photography is one of my biggest talents, and I really hope that I can learn to value myself more and honor my talent more and see what I can do with my photography talent. And I love to travel, so enjoy my weird cathartic audio now. And don't worry, I'm in a much better place right now. As September 2010, I'm doing much better. And here's my freak out audio. Hi, this is Shannon Kringen, Goddess Kring. I'm having trouble right now, and let this video, monologue, whatever this stupid thing is, let this be just a documentation of how I feel as a human being on this planet. I've thought about suicide off and on throughout my lifetime, and I will not commit suicide in this lifetime, because I know that I've probably had past lives and I have committed suicide before, and you just have to reincarnate and come back, so it really doesn't work. I'm in love with a man right now. I can see why I stayed with a guy that I wasn't in love with for 2 years. The last boyfriend I had, I lived with for 2 years, and to be honest with you, I was never sexually attracted to him. He was very sexually attracted to me, but I was not sexually attracted to him. That was mainly why it didn't work. In addition to some of the problems he was going through with his family, and some of my own personal issues, which I won't get into about his family. That's his own private thing. I will say that my issues is that I'm an only child of parents who met in college, and they basically dropped out of college. They got pregnant with me sort of accidentally, or my mom said they just sort of let it happen. So I wasn't really a mistake or an accident, but let's just say that I wasn't really planned. It wasn't really their heart's desire to have a family at all. So they met in college. They conceived me in a hotel room down the street from the college. And when my mom was 3 months pregnant, My parents got married, and they tried for 4 years, and then they divorced when I was 4. I never really felt wanted. I felt like my parents both treated me as a friend more than their daughter. And to this day, my mom says she'll come to the city and visit me. She lives in the country. She doesn't like the city that much. And she cancels about 90% of the time, because she doesn't feel well, or she's stressed out, or she's an artist, so she has to be in her art studio. My whole life, my mother has been somebody I have to be in my art studio. Sorry, I can't do it. I have to be in my art studio. So basically my mom, unless I wanted to be her sidekick and do art, which I did sometimes because I'm an artist too, and I love creating, and my mom is a talented artist, and part of her is a sweet person. But mostly I felt ignored by my parents, and my dad, he thinks he's ugly. My dad has no self-esteem, and he thinks he's ugly, and he always wanted to go on stage. He was a tennis teacher, and he was very fit and trim and healthy and tan, and we lived in San Diego, and he's, a tall, slender guy. He's very handsome, but he thought he was ugly. And so I had to grow up listening to my dad tell me about his problems with women and say, and she knows it. When a pretty woman would walk down the street, he'd say, and she knows it, and she don't look back. And so he has resentment towards women because he feels rejected by women, probably because he felt rejected by his own mother. Both my parents had fathers that they were closer to who died when they were in their early 20s, tragically. And both of my grandmothers were not particularly nurturing women. They both played the piano. They were both musically talented, but they weren't affectionate to my parents. So both my parents actually have a similar mother-father pattern in their own families. And so when they met, they had me, and they divorced when I was 4, and I saw my dad on weekends. And I know I'm lucky. My parents don't drink or smoke or do any drugs, and they didn't beat me up or anything like that, and they didn't beat each other. I didn't witness them being physically violent. I just witnessed, they just kind of ignored me, and I grew up feeling like it was my job to not have needs, and it was my job to not be in the way. And I remember feeling like I had a hard time making friends, and I did have friends when I was a kid. But basically, I am 41 years old right now. It's 2010. I've been in therapy off and on for years, and I'm seeing this one woman who I think I'm making progress with. I've seen her for 7 years, off and on. But right now I feel horrible because my boyfriend, my lover, we made love yesterday and we meditated together, and he's got a busy schedule. He has a son, and he has a complicated custody situation going with the mother and the son and him. So that's confusing and stressful. And I'm reading a book called How to Be an Adult in Relationships, and I just think I'm overwhelmed right now, and I'm afraid I'm going to end up like my dad. My mom got married 4 times. This is what happened. My parents got married, and they had me, and then when I was 4, they divorced. And then my dad, he has a horrible self-esteem. He thinks he's ugly, and he thinks women reject him. So he's avoided relationships most of his life. He's had a few, but when they end, he's devastated and he can't handle it. So he retreats into himself, and he watches a lot of movies and television, and he kind of protects himself by shutting down emotionally. And I'm afraid that's what I'm going to do. And my mom, she got married 4 times, and she met the nice guy that she's with now. She's on marriage number 4, but now she's happy. She's married. She's been with this guy for over 20 years. And so, but of course she didn't meet him till I was a senior in high school. So I never got to live with my mom when she was in a happy marriage. I had to live with my mom when she was in unhappy marriages. And I went to 3 schools in 5th grade. And I know I need to stop telling my story because I keep telling my story over and over again. And I don't think it's helping me. But I feel like when the relationship I'm in right now, I'm in love with this guy, but he's busy and he lives on a boat and he has other friends, okay? And he needs his space, and I need my space too because I'm a moody person. I'm an only child, and I'm kind of an introverted loner. So I need my space too. But I feel like I can't handle relationships in my current life because too much of my childhood stuff is triggered when I try to get close to another person. I like to say intimacy chasing me, feel like it's erasing me, and that's how it feels. When I get close to someone, I don't have a strong enough sense of self. It's like I'm still a wounded little kid. And so I can't handle it. So I'm afraid I am going to turn into sort of a John Wayne person, and I'm just going to cut off from relationships. And my romantic life is going to consist of me watching Tom Petty videos, because Tom Petty is sort of the pretend man of my dreams, because he's so handsome and I love his music. And Eddie Vedder too. He's really beautifully handsome. Although I don't like Eddie Vedder's music as much as Tom Petty's. Although when Eddie Vedder did the soundtrack to Into the Wild, just him and guitar, acoustic, beautiful. I don't like it when Eddie Vedder screams, but when he just plays the guitar and sings like more folky, acoustic, beautiful melodies, love it, absolutely love it. And when he sang with that guy from Pakistan who was in that movie Dead Man Walking, soundtrack to that, beautiful songs. Okay, so I feel like I'm never going to be able to handle having a grown-up, mature adult relationship with a man. And I stayed with a guy for 2 years that I wasn't attracted to because I was so desperate for somebody to be loyal and stay with me and not leave me. And part of me wants to go back to that guy, but I don't think he'll take me back, and I'm not attracted to him, so that won't work anyway. And plus, he criticized me in some ways. He was really nice and loving in some ways, but he criticized certain things about me, and so we didn't really harmonize with each other. So I can't do that. And I feel like calling my parents or calling the crisis line. I don't really have close friends. I should probably try to call somebody. I feel absolutely horrible. And my artwork, this is my family, my photography and my video and my music and my art and my website. That is my family. That is my life. Because I know my parents are going to get old and die, and I'm probably going to be alone. I have no brothers and no sisters, and I have no aunts or uncles that I'm close to. I don't have any family except my parents, basically. I'm not close to anyone in my family. And my parents and I are drifting apart at this point. I'm trying not to talk to them much. And my therapist, she can't save me. And no boyfriend is ever going to save me. So I feel like I have to cut off emotionally, or I am going to die. So I have to figure out, because I know that when you kill yourself, you have to come back. So it's not really going to help. I did have an abortion in 1995 because I was terrified of having a baby, because obviously I'm too immature and unstable, and I don't want to screw up a little kid. If I ever have a kid, I want the kid to feel like it was totally wanted, and I want to nurture its self-esteem and allow the kid to be whoever they really are, because I feel like my parents didn't really allow me. They projected their own stuff onto me, my mom and her art stuff, and struggling with her love life, and my dad and struggling with his self-esteem and his career or lack thereof. He taught tennis and he was happy with that, but I grew up listening to him complain about his love life, and he had stage fright, and he wrote comedy and music, but he never got on stage. And one time one of his songs almost became the theme song to a movie, and then they canceled at the last minute, and then he got really discouraged and sort of gave up. And that's like me. Something bad happens to me and I pretty much get discouraged and give up, probably too soon. But then again, sometimes I hang on too long. And so at least I've done my TV show for 16 years. And yeah, I guess this is like therapy on TV. I'm doing self-therapy. And don't worry, I call the crisis line. If I'm really freaking out, I call the crisis line. I do whatever it takes. I talk myself out of suicide all the time because it's gross. I mean, let's figure it. It's disgusting. Imagining my dead body, sitting there and somebody finding me. I don't want to traumatize someone. And I love my cat. I don't want to abandon my cat. And my cat loves me. But I do kind of have like a pact with myself. If I'm 60 years old, and my parents are dead and I'm still miserable, then I think when I'm 60, I have the right to like get some morphine and kill myself. I do think that is my retirement plan. If I'm really poor, I don't have any money, especially in the USA, which is a horrible country anyway, capitalist crap anyway. USA Incorporated, I like to call it, because this is really a corporation that we all work for, not really a country. There's no socialized anything. They're cutting the budgets on libraries, and they're cutting all the budgets for good things, and then they're giving money to all the rich, corrupt, lying, cheating, stealing people. So this country's going down. The American dollar's going down. I'm ready for 2012 right now. So basically my retirement plan is to kill myself. If I'm 60, maybe I should wait till I'm 65. When I'm 65 years old, if my parents are dead, which they might be because they're 20 years older than me. So 21 and 24 years older than me. So when I'm 65, they're going to be in their 80s. They might still be around. So I figure I need to wait until my parents die. Once my parents are dead, because I don't think I'm going to have any kids in this lifetime. Once my parents are dead, and I don't have any other family, then I feel like it's okay for me to end my life, as long as I do it quietly. Like, I feel like I should take some medication, and then I should, like, jump somewhere where nobody will ever find me. So nobody has to be traumatized. And I'll leave a note explaining what I did so nobody will have to wonder or something. I don't know. But I know that's like 25 years from now. And who knows if I'll even be alive. I might die of natural causes before then because I'm so stressed out all the time. So I don't really know. I know we create our own reality. So here I am creating a negative reality. Unavailable. She's always, in the country. She lives in the country. She's always in her art studio, and she's in her 60s, and my stepdad is in his 70s, so they're starting to have some health issues. And they only really see me when they come to the city every few months because they have to come in for doctor's appointments, and so they squeeze me in. They never come to the city just to visit me. They just come in because they have to go to a doctor's appointment, or they have to buy some art supplies or something, because they're both artists. And so they study non-duality, Advaita Vedanta non-duality with swamis, and so they come into the city for that, and then they squeeze me in for an hour, they meet me at some coffee shop or something, and usually they cancel 90% of the time. My mom or stepdad will say, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're not feeling well," or "Oh, the ferry traffic is really bad," or "Oh, we decided to change our plans," or they come into the city and they don't even tell me, so therefore they don't have to see me, and then I find out later they came to the city. So basically, I guess my mom and stepdad don't really want to see me. I know they think I'm a great photographer. They're always saying, "Oh, we love your photography," because they're artists, and so it's true. They love my photography. They think I'm very talented, and they encourage me to go for it. Do your photography. You're very talented. That's really nice that they say that, but I don't really feel loved by them in a family kind of way. I feel like they like me like I'm a friend. So both my parents treat me more like a friend than a family member. I don't really feel protected by my parents. And I know I'm 41, so I shouldn't need that anymore. But the thing is, I never did feel very protected by my parents. Okay? So, yeah, this is my little self-pity party. This is Shannon Kringen's little self-pity party. Fine, whatever. I hope someday that I can learn to love myself and value myself and know that my life, that I was born for some reason, even if my parents really didn't mean to have me and they just kind of, accidentally conceived me. They didn't really plan me out, and they only got married because, when a woman's pregnant, she's supposed to marry, the guy, What kind of load of crap is that? I don't think people should have to get married. I'm never going to get married. I know that. I don't trust people. I don't ever want to be legally tied to another person. I don't want to fill out forms. I don't want to pay money to some bureaucracy, for some stupid legal document. I'm not doing that. So maybe someday I'll be in a long-term loving relationship with a guy, but maybe not. And, my lover guy just called, and he was going to see me, but he has friends from out of town, and it's complicated, but for some reason I'm not supposed to meet them right now because they're going to hang out with somebody else. I don't want to get into the details. It's too personal, but for a certain reason, it's not appropriate for me to go hang out with him and his friends. And I'm just bummed out because, whatever. So I'm thinking that, in some ways, maybe this new lover is a nice person to me, but then I was so neglected as a child that when somebody gives me anything, I feel lucky to get anything, like the guy I lived with for 2 years, we didn't have any good sex, and we hardly ever had sex because I wasn't attracted to him, and then it drove him nuts because he really wanted to be my lover, but I couldn't do that with him very well. So we hardly did that at all for 2 years. So I was deprived of that for 2 years. With this new person, we have beautiful, physical attraction, but he's really busy, and he has a son, and he has all these other friends, and he lives on a boat, and it's just complicated, so we don't see each other very often. And so I feel like I'm really used to, and then before him, there was a guy that I had really, really, really good sex with But, you know, he didn't want to be my boyfriend, and he would say things to me like, well, I don't really want to be your boyfriend, Shannon, and I'm not really a nurturing kind of person. And at least he was honest, you know, but I so much liked making love with him and sleeping with him and having sex with him that I couldn't leave. And so I stayed with him for a few months, and I just kind of hung out with that. So I've never, ever had a relationship with a man where I feel like I'm good friends with him, he's my boyfriend, and he's my lover, and we have a good physical connection, a good sexual connection. I've never had that. I don't know what that's like. I've gone on probably 100 blind dates in my lifetime. I'm really sick of it. I'm really sick of it. I'm really sick of relationships, and I'm afraid that I'm just going to cut off and be numb. Right now, I just feel like, you know, I don't drink or smoke or do any drugs, but right now I just feel like I want to watch like 5 movies. I want to throw myself into my work. You know, it's kind of what my dad does. He watches a lot of movies and TV and listens to a lot of music, and he throws himself into his work. You know, he works like 6 days a week, you know, full time plus Saturdays, you know, so I need to do that. I need to throw myself into work full time and just run myself into the ground so that I don't have any energy for relationships. And I don't really have any close friends, especially not with women. So basically I have trouble with men and women. I'm more comfortable with men generally. Maybe I should be friends with a bunch of gay guys, you know, because gay guys don't want to have sex with me. And I feel safer with men than I do with women because my mom and my grandma, in some ways, are not real nurturing, and I'm afraid that they're going to hurt me all the time. My grandma's dead now, but rest in peace, Grandma. But my grandma got along better with animals than she did with people, and my mom gets along better with swamis and her artwork and plants, and my stepdad better than she gets along with me or anybody else. So fine. So I just feel like, you know, what is the point of my life anyway? What is Shannon Kringen alive for? You know, what is she alive for? What am I doing here? Why am I on this planet? And how can I make the world a better place? I don't want to just roll around with self-pity, but I need to tell my story and get my voice heard in some way and get it out there. So I guess I'm talking to God right now. I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to God. I'm talking to whoever, my higher self. I don't know who I'm talking to. Maybe I'm just talking to myself in a mirror. You know, that's why I take 50 million pictures of myself. You know, maybe I am narcissistic because, you know what? My parents are narcissistic. They're totally wrapped up in themselves and they ignored me. And so therefore I'm wrapped up in myself because I didn't get mirroring from them. They didn't teach me to mirror with other people. They taught me that I better look in the mirror if I want mirroring. I look, you know, it's true. I look in the mirror and I feel better. I feel like, okay, I'm here, I'm okay, I'm alive, I'm real, I'm okay. And I have to figure out what the hell I'm doing with my life. So I have to figure it out. So I don't know if the guy that I'm with right now is being really nice to me or if I'm just accepting the bare minimum and I want more. And then again, I don't want to expect too much. See, I feel like I expect too much for my love life and then I don't expect enough for my love life. It's one or the other and I don't know where the balance is. So I really hate myself right now, and I hope that this video is helping you, or maybe it'll help me eventually when I'm in a more rational state of mind.